Earlier today, Bitcoin broke above 69,000 US dollars. Nice. And then 70,000 US dollars for the first time in history, before then immediately receiving a massive dump. And right on time, Coinbase crashed yet again, which has led many to believe that Coinbase is intentionally doing this. But why would they do something like this, you might ask? Okay, now this is where it gets big. Over the last few hours, we've seen a roller coaster of price and a roller coaster of emotion, to be honest. We've seen Bitcoin go from about 67,000 US dollars all the way above 70,000 US dollars, putting it a new all-time high for mere seconds before then getting immediately dumped on. And a lot of people are questioning yet again because Coinbase, the custodian of many of these Bitcoin spot ETFs, pretty much the largest exchange, Coinbase went down again, which is leading people to believe, are they doing this on purpose? And let's just say the answer is actually way bigger than I think anyone could ever imagine. So if you understand that the bust is coming, and the bust is likely to be bigger than anything we've quite literally ever seen, hit that like, hit that subscribe, get signed up to FEMEX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without any further ado, let's take a sneak peek at exactly what's been going on. So by the time this video gets uploaded, I just want to say this first. By the time this gets uploaded, because I just personally think that the price action is probably going to be vastly different. However, I want to talk about exactly what I think is happening and, more importantly, where we're going. So you look at the 4-hour chart, we saw Bitcoin whip all the way up to above 70,000, crash immediately down, bounce. Honestly, I think this was just to shake out some leveraged positions, to shake out some people. Remember, we only touched on all-time highs for the first time just about 3 days ago for the first time in over 2 years. So remember what I said a couple days ago is that the last time we came up to all-time high, it took 4 weeks to get above it. So if we would go above the all-time high right now and just start moving upwards, it would be the fastest in history that Bitcoin has gotten up to a previous all-time high and broke above it. So we have plenty of time. This potentially could take weeks. I personally think it will not. I think there's way too much buy pressure. I still think that, hey, if it takes a couple days, that's not much compared to the past. So relax a little bit. But the fact that we're already seeing this price get pushed and try to shove above previous all-time highs, above 70K now, because 70K is the new all-time high, which we just put in mere moments ago, obviously there's a lot of demand here. And I want to talk about a lot of things. Let's actually start off with this. So British Hodl had this tweet, and I think it's very interesting. It's speculation, obviously, because nobody knows at this point. However, I think it's very important to look at. So, one thing that's honestly blowing my mind, first of all, does anyone actually believe that Coinbase, after all these years, I remember in the last bull cycle, Coinbase would also go down during these pumps and dumps. So they're aware of this issue. It's not like this is something that showed up for the first time like 2 weeks ago and they're trying to frantically solve this. This is an issue that they've had years to try to mitigate or come up with a solution to. So keep that in mind. I think that's a little crazy, but the majority of the demand is coming from institutions, and the server still crashes every time we breach all-time highs. What British Hodl says here is he thinks that, Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, markets start running, and the over-the-counter desks start running out of Bitcoin. The bull market prevention team, which I think is funny, at Coinbase steps in and shuts down the engine. It would actually be funny if there was a group of a couple workers there who are part of the bull market prevention team. Then retail panics, trading algorithms start dumping, the OTC desks get flushed again, and then Coinbase turns back on the engine and allows Blackrock, Fidelity, and the big boys to buy up more Bitcoin. He said if this is not happening, then Coinbase is basically just incredibly incompetent. I'm kind of interested in maybe your opinion. This is something, man. If I were Coinbase at this point, every time this happens, I would be like frantically trying to solve it, right? I'd be like, okay, why does this keep happening? How do we fix this? But it seems like they have no interest in solving it, or potentially some people are suggesting, are they intentionally doing it for potentially this reason or maybe another reason, right? It's absolutely crazy and it's unacceptable. Come on, guys. I don't know what else to say about that. But let's jump into a few other things first. So mustache on crypto. In previous cycles, when we've gotten the Ichimoku Cloud indicator with the conversion line crossing bullishly above the baseline, it has been absolutely basically up only for months. And if we zoom in, you can see it's highlighted here with this blue line going above this red line here. And I personally think, yes, we're about to get very bullish. And this is just another piece of data to look at for that. So BlackRock has also filed with the SEC that will buy Bitcoin ETFs for their own funds. They have 10 trillion in assets under management, another 20 trillion in funds that use their Aladdin platform to make portfolio allocations. They've also stated the optimal Bitcoin allocation is about 85% of a portfolio. Of course, few will do this, but we have the world's biggest fund manager telling investors to get off of zero and start investing in Bitcoin. This is simply gigantic, and people are bearish right now. It's crazy. So yesterday, and I want to highlight this actually because my video yesterday talked about this a little bit, GBTC outflows actually were a little bit bigger than the prior day. So for like 4 days in a row, we saw GBTC outflows declining. Yesterday, they didn't. They actually ticked up a little bit, but not really that much, and that's just an important point I want to highlight first. We saw Bitcoin inflows, however, with, again, over $500 million, and another day of outflows for gold ETFs, almost 100 million, okay? Flipping and getting closer between Bitcoin and gold. And Friday, today, spot ETF inflow update for yesterday. We saw almost $1 billion in inflows from the 9 spot Bitcoin ETFs. We saw about 375 million in outflows from GBTC, which is just, I think, less than 100 million increase from the previous day, and total daily net inflows of about $500 million almost. Now, as we talked about, this speculation is that probably the liquidation of Genesis, Gemini, DCG not being over yet. That's why we're seeing increased inflows most likely. However, nobody 100% knows for sure, but that is heavily what the speculation is. But it absolutely was another good day for the 9 Bitcoin spot ETFs. Very big. Now, let's actually take a look at this. So Bitcoin's daily issuance is about to be cut in half, obviously as we know. No corporation or country announcements yet, and retail FOMO is still relatively tame. This is going to be a massive year. We look at this chart zoomed in, you can see that this is what the supply is going to get. The daily issuance, the daily supply is going to be cut in half yet again, which should absolutely spur on more. Well, I mean, if you have less supply and demand even just stays the same, let alone increases, price should go up. Something's in the water Eric is talking about here following the ETFs. The 10 Bitcoin ETFs have seen a massive day worth of volume in just the first few hours, on pace to beat Tuesday's wild $10 billion day, which was like a record-breaking day. Already BlackRock has over $2 billion. $1 billion a day is big boy level, but IBIT is basically doing $1 billion an hour. Again, like record-breaking inflows here, and it's only a matter of time. And I want to talk about price action really badly, but I want to just get through a few more tweets here. 9 Bitcoin ETFs purchasing over 400,000 Bitcoin, worth over 27 billion in just the first month or first 39 trading days. We also see the Bitcoin ETFs continue to see hundreds of millions in inflows, very massive, and a record trading volume for these ETFs today, as of literally the first 2 hours, not even 2 hours. I mean, just billions of dollars of inflows. Okay, just an insane amount. So we're seeing the stock market actually opened up and it was higher earlier, but then it actually went down, crashed a little bit, and Bitcoin kind of went down around the same time in terms of price. We look at Bitcoin's 4-hour chart. I mean, so far, this is kind of one of the big things I want to talk about. When we last came up to all-time highs just a couple days ago, we got a pretty big rejection, remember? People thought, oh, okay, this is the top. Well, it was a pretty big crash, about 69,000, nice, to about 59,000. And then literally just hours later, basically that dump was erased. And this is a pattern that I think is going to continue. I think these dumps are going to be bought up faster than ever before. We will still get dumps. We will still get shakeouts. I just think that they will be less impactful long-term and basically irrelevant, right? If we have a $10,000 crash and then 2 hours later, we're back to where we were before the $10,000 crash, does that crash really matter? Not really, unless you're incredibly leveraged and you're just addicted to the charts and you have to be trading every 5 minutes, then it matters to you. But if you're a normal person who, maybe you'll look at the price 10 times a day, which, I mean, I look at the price probably 1,000,000 times a day, and I'm sure many of you do as well. But normal people don't really care that much. If even the biggest crash we've seen so far of the past few weeks, 69 to 59, nice, and then immediately back up, most people don't really care about that. Especially if over if you look at a weekly time frame, it's up and up and up and up. I think a lot of people are willing to take that risk and willing to, accept that dynamic. Now, with that being said, right, we see this massive crash, after touching on all-time high. Now we've touched on all-time high again, got rejected again. Coinbase went down again, which it did here as well, believe it or not. I mean, Coinbase continues to go down. That's why a lot of people are speculating here. But yes, we had all those same things again. But so far, this does not really seem like a massive crash. So far, it looks like buying pressure is at least holding steady. And I think if you zoom out and maybe even wait till tomorrow, I don't think this is going to turn into a much bigger dump. I think the pressure is heavily towards trying to break through this sell wall around 70K, right around those previous all-time highs. Price discovery is very close. A blue sky breakout for Bitcoin is very close. And the pressure, the fact that we're seeing still so much pressure even after these strong rejections is very promising if you're basically long this market. I mean, looking at the daily chart, it doesn't look like anything happened. There was a couple $1,000 move to the downside, but realistically, a real healthy dump, to me, the bare minimum of what a real drop in Bitcoin's price is as of today, it would need to go to at least 58,000 because that would be the 21-day moving average. It would be a level that, we have dumped down to and then immediately keep pumping. So it's not really that bad. And so I think it's important for people to understand, still very bullish here. You can see this chart. If we go across previous all-time highs, massive. And yeah, I mean, if we get a daily candle or a weekly candle close above here, we already closed. Actually, yeah, I believe, yeah, a few of these daily candles we've been closing are already the highest daily candles Bitcoin has ever closed. So that's massive. But I'm just kind of curious what your guys' opinion is. We're about to go into weekend trading, and so I don't necessarily think Bitcoin is going to be very strong on the weekend. However, Monday seems to be a very bullish day for these inflows. So if we don't break the all-time highs and stay above them this week, I think this upcoming Monday is going to be absolutely massive. And get signed up to FEMEX below if you want to buy Bitcoin or altcoins. Without further ado, that's it for me.